state the word is Allahu. Okay. So now again, these are two independent words here. These are slave is a person here and Allahu is another word. Okay. Now, both of them are nouns here. If I want to establish a relationship between these two, okay, what I would do in English, I'll put in of here. Okay. In Arabic, this is what we do. We take the first word, abdun, and remove one dhamma. We just take the second word and move kasra to dhamma to a kasra. So the word is Abdullahi. Abdullahi brings the concept of in there. Okay. Abdullahi is the real word. When we stop, we say Abdullah. We don't say Abdun Allah to somebody. We say his name is Abdullah. We don't say Abdun Allah is his name. Why? Because we are trying to say that this person's name reflects slave of Allah. So to bring the meaning of, we remove one dhamma from here on the first word. On the second word, we remove the dhamma and change it by kasra. Abdullahi brings the meaning of here. Okay? Now, we have a word here, tilawatuhu. And we have a word haqqun. Okay? So think like that. Haqqun is just like abdun. Okay? And Allahu is like tilawatuhu. I'm going to combine these two words. Right of the recitation. Okay, I'm going to bring the concept of here. Right of recitation. This means its recitation. This word means right. These are independent words, just like these independent words. Now I want to bring the concept right of its recitation. So I'm going to bring of there. In order to bring the of, I will have to do something like this. Between haqqun and tilawatuhu. Okay, so let's write down, just keep this word here, or just we know that now what we do. So you have a word haqqun. Haqqun, that means right. And you have tilawatuhu. Its recitation. Okay? Two separate words. Haqqun and its recitation. Okay? Now I want to put an of in between to make a relationship between these two. Right of its recitation. Haqq of the tilawat. Okay? To fulfill the right of the recitation. Okay? In English I put of. In Arabic what I would do, I will just remove one dhamma just like we did. And this will become haqqu. And this will become tilawatuhu. This is important. In Abdullahi, we change the last word. Just don't look at this one. It is just like Allahu. It became Allahi. Tilawatu became tilawati. Okay? So haqqu tilawatihi means right of the recitation. Okay? Haqqu tilawatihi means the right of recitation. When people pronounce it this way, tilawatihu, it is not easy on the tongue. Okay? So to modify the tajweed, only the tajweed, the Qura Hazrat recite this as a kasra, not as a dhamma. Okay? In Arabic language. Okay? So if you try to speak tilawatihi, it comes easy on the tongue. So this change was only to speak easy on the tongue. Other changes came by making this sentence. Okay? So now the word is haqqo tilawatihi. Okay? So we know that now tilawatihi is just like here. Okay? It went through many changes. Okay? Its recitation. The only thing which has remained now that this is haqqo, but in the Quran is haqqa. What changed that? Okay? And we have discussed that a few times in the class, that if a word is used as an object, it becomes with a fatha instead of dhamma. Okay? And so for that reason, this is being used as an object of recitation. Yatulunahu, they recite it. Okay? So that's the reason this haqqu becomes haqqa. Okay? And I can actually spend a couple of minutes to explain that also. That this is a very standard rule in the Quran. We have to learn that. Otherwise the meaning will not be understandable. Khalaqa Allahu al-insanu. These are three words. Khalaqa means created.
Yeah.
Okay, we have discussed a few times, but let's understand one more time. Created. This is fail. Fail means verb. Khalaqallahu, Allah created. So Allah is fa'il. This is subject in English. Okay. And what Allah created? Allah created insan. So this is maf'ul or object. So this is a complete sentence in Arabic. In Arabic or in any language, this is a complete sentence. You have someone who is doing something, you have someone he is doing upon, and you have an action. Fail, file, maf'ul. You have all three things.
So in Arabic, always file comes in the middle?
Yes, in Arabic, file comes in the middle. In English, you will say Allah created, so Allah comes first.
Yeah.
Okay? But the important change that takes place is that the maf'ul, which is al-insanu, when it comes in the sentence, it loses its dhamma to a fatah. It becomes khalaqallahu al-insana. The word is insanu, but it is coming as an object. Whenever a noun comes as an object, it becomes fatha instead of dhamma. So this, we should remember this short ayat of the Quran, or these three words. Khalaqallahu al-insana. This is a very standard rule, very important rule of the Arabic, is that this short sentence is a very complete verbal sentence. It has a doer, file, who is Allah. It has someone, work is being done upon, which is in al-insanu, and it is the action. Action is creating. When you put all these in a line to make a sentence, then Allahu stays Allahu, but al-insanu becomes al-insana. Okay? So this thing became fatah there. Okay? يَتْلُونَهُ حَقٌّ. They recite the right. So it is just like that right is here. So haqqo becomes haqqa. Okay? So this is a kind of long where one word is affecting the other, is the other, is the other. But at the end, there is a logic behind every word. Okay? So now besides that, let's understand the meaning. So Allah says that to those people whom we give the book, the Quran, they recite the book as its right of the recitation is. What is the right of reciting the book? What is that? How can we fulfill the right of the Quran upon us? The right of its recitation is that we need to understand what the Quran is saying. We need to understand first the meaning of the Quran, okay, which is the first thing that we have taken out of the recitation. We have learned how to read the Quran without understanding the Quran. All our life we read the Quran not knowing what is written in there. Majority of the ummah is doing that.
You're right, yeah.
Majority of the ummah or the holders of the Quran or the followers of the Quran in their madrasas and in their other places, they are taught only to read the Quran without understanding anything what is written in there. That is the first right of the Quran that we have ignored. That is the right of the Quran to understand. If we don't understand what is written there, how are we going to follow the Quran? So if we don't understand, we don't know what the commands are in the Quran that we should follow and implement in the personal life and in the life of the entire society. So by just closing the gate right in the beginning, we have closed everything after that. That is the right of the Quran we are not fulfilling. That is what the right of its recitation is. It's not blindly reading without knowing what is the meaning. That is something that as a whole we have done it wrong. At a higher level, on the society level, we have, in every country we have done it wrong. And not only that, even the Arabs who know how to speak the language, they have done it. Okay. The common people on the street will not be really able to understand what Quran says because they speak the current language which is not the Fusha of the Quran. So when they are listening to the Quran or they are reading the Quran, it sounds good to their ears without really understanding what is the right of the Quran. Okay? So that is the deep meaning of this. Allah says those people fulfill the right of its recitation, which means when they read, they recite, they go through every step what is the demand of the Quran at that time. Okay? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, after that, let's continue. Couple things here I want to point out. If after the tilawatehi, that you see a little mud there, mud appears because next letter has a hamza on it. Whenever there is a hamza, and before hamza, if you have either ha or alif or ya, okay, then this hamza has an effect on the previous letter, and the previous letter should be stretched in the recitation, in tajweed. So here we have to say not tilawatehi, but we have to recite tilawatehi, make it stretching 6 times at least, because this next letter alif has a hamza which has an effect on the previous letter. And that's tajweed, the rule of tajweed. Okay? Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, ulaika. Okay. Now this is another important word that most of us do not write or do not pronounce it correctly. Okay. Look in the Quran or the paper I gave you how it is written. First of all, how many of you may know that what this little circle means? The circle little dot on the wow means do not read wow. Do not read wow. Imagine like wow is not even there. Okay? All you have to make the sound of this hamza which is dhamma, oo. A lot of people say ulaika. They sound it like a wow. Wow. It's being combined with this alif. Okay?
So every time when the circle comes on top of each letter, that means that word is silent?
Yes, it comes only on top of 3 letters. Either alif, waw or ya. Mostly in the Quran you will see on alif and waw. Okay, not in general on ya. Which means this is not supposed to be recited.
So it's silent.
It's a silent. So all you have to decide how much dhamma sound is on any letter. Oo. Simple oo. Don't say oo. Okay?
But I think she could misunderstand what you said. It's not every time. It depends on what is preceding. Like awliya is where you wow has circle on it and you recite it. This is different. I mean, it's not always.
Whenever there's either you will see this
Hamza is one.
on alif,
Yeah.
or you will see on waw. Okay? This is called alif wiqaya or waw wiqaya. This example of alif is a lot here in this chart. If you look at the fa'alu, in fa'alu, there is an alif with a circle, which means do not recite. Wiqaya means separation. Okay? Alif wiqaya or waw wiqaya means you do not recite, it's a separation. So imagine if it is not even there. Okay? So you have to just recite alif with a hamza and a waw on it. Number 1. Number 2, you have lam and alif here, but there is another hamza here. Okay? So if hamza was not there, then you will say just la. You will just say like la like that. Okay? Because of this hamza, this has to be pronounced long. This alif. Again, the same effect, backward effect. Okay? So that's the reason there is a mud on it. Okay? So you have to pronounce la. You just cannot say la. Okay? That's another place we don't pay attention when we are reading this word.
Can I ask you a question? You know when you recite the Quran, like inside the verses? Sorry. Excuse me. You know how they have the sign saying, I think is it a stop, and then understand the verse, and then is that what it means? You know what I'm talking about?
Those are where you're supposed to stop and where you are supposed to continue. Those are different things.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, but here this is coming in the middle of the word. Okay, this waw is coming in the middle of one word. So how do we not read or read this word? Likewise, when we have this mud, and mud is coming because of this, so we have to pronounce la-ika. So make it short here, make it long here. Most of us do the other way around. A lot of people just think that waw is to be read, so they say oo and quickly go over the la. Okay? So these harakats are there to
So we stretch first one and then short.
Yeah. So ulaika means those. Those or such people. Okay? So here Ulaika means those people. Who are those people? Those are the same people, allazina. Those are the same people Allah just talked about. He is talking about now the same people. Ulaika yu'minuna bihi. Okay, let's look at that word. That's another word we don't pay attention and we usually read it wrong
So
also.
excuse me, we cannot put allazina yu'min.
It's the author's decision.
Allazina yu'min. So those yu'min are the.
So let's look at the next word. Alif, Mim and Noon. Okay. This means to be in peace. To be in peace. Okay. Aman, you know this word Aman. Okay. And this belongs to a group which is called Fa'ala, Bab Fa'ala, which has 3 letters in it. Okay. Now, if we want to make Bab Af'ala, we put an alif in the beginning. Af'ala. Okay. And this becomes Amana. Okay. And as I mentioned before, that 2 alifs can be written like that. Amana. This means to believe. Amana means to believe.
So amane, that means who believes?
No. Amana means to believe.
So amane.
Amanat.
Amane.
No,
Amana.
that's this from this word. Aman.
Okay.
Yeah, peace. But this is a different word. Okay? To believe. Okay? Now go back to this word. Yaf'aluna. We just learned that. If we put a ya in the beginning and buna at the end, and we have fa and lam, yaf'aluna means they do, right? Okay. Now in place of fa, an and lam, we have these 3 letters, alif, mim and noon. Okay. So this will be yu'minuna. If I just substitute these, this will become yu'minuna. Okay. Now notice that there was a hamza, so I just use this hamza there, the first letter. Okay. Here's a vav there. Where did that vav come from? Above hamza. Here there is no vav here, right? This buna vav is from the grammar. Okay. But in the original letters, there is no vav here. But in the Quran you see a vav there. But when you make the grammar, it's going to be yu'minuna. Okay? This hamza, the letter hamza as we understand, hamza by itself needs a chair. Hamza cannot come by itself. It needs a chair to sit on. Okay, like a kursi. Okay? So it goes out and searches for an alif or a ya and a vav. Any of these 3 letters, it needs to sit on. Okay? So it looks for a chair to sit on. And so now also notice that alif has the sound of fatha, right? Ya has the sound of kasra. And vav has the sound of dhamma. Okay? So in order to help this hamza, we just bring a vav here, just to sit actually. This is a sukun here. Okay? So we just bring a vowel to help the hamza to sit on. We don't pronounce it, we don't read it. Okay? So the way you should pronounce it, yu'minuna. Combine ya with the hamza, you. Don't say you, don't say English word Y-O-U. Most of us read this yu'minuna.
You have to stress upon it.
No, you don't have to pronounce wow. If you stress, you are pronouncing wow.